And we begin 5:30 with a problem that's plaguing Chautauqua County. Drug overdoses are hitting new records and it's only getting worse. That is according to county officials. Good evening, everyone. I'm Claudine Ewing. New numbers by the Chautauqua County Department of Mental Hygiene show this year so far there have been 59 deaths. And of those deaths, 5 were in a 4-day span from September 30th through October 3rd. It is an increase from last year, where they saw a total of just 36 deaths. The county is sounding the alarm and warning the community to be careful as they work to fight against this epidemic. Joining us live right now tonight is Steve Kilburn, director with the Chautauqua County Department of Mental Hygiene. Thank you so much for joining us, Steve.
Thanks for having me.
We just mentioned some numbers, but can you give us an overview of what the county is actually seeing right now?
Yeah, as you described, we are sadly on a pace to see 2023 be the year of the most fatal overdoses in our county on record. That actually will almost certainly be true for the nation as a whole, but focused here in our own county, as you shared, up through mid-October, we're pacing far above the numbers that we saw even last year, and of course we weren't happy at all to see as many as we did then.
This is so disturbing to hear. Of the new cases that you are seeing, what drugs are contributing to it?
We don't get full confirmation about that for sometimes a couple of months, but based on what we do know, I think we can say with some pretty strong confidence. Number one, almost exclusively fentanyl is involved. I don't mean exclusively as the only drug, but it's almost always involved in causing the actual death. But the other trend that we're seeing, and I believe it to be true in Erie County as well, based on what I've read, that increasingly that's accompanied by the use of stimulants. So that would be methamphetamine or increasingly so cocaine. And a few takeaways from that. One is just to reinforce, again, there is no safe street drug, that even in instances where an individual has no intention of ingesting an opioid, that fentanyl, which is in the smallest quantities deadly, is frequently showing up in the stimulants. And we do get reports from providers who tell us that they have patients, clients, who report having overdosed when they thought that they were taking, again, a stimulant only, and only to discover that they suffered, in their cases, a non-fatal overdose.
It's good for you sounding the alarm. Is there a certain demographic that your office is seeing that is having high overdoses?
Yes, it's over half of the deaths happening here in our county are between like 35 and 50 men. And so that particular age span, the median age of death is, and this would be a surprise perhaps to some people, is actually 45. So it's the sort of stereotype of most of the deaths occurring among young adults, which they do, many do, but many are actually happening among older adults as well. And by a margin of about 3 to 1, it's men.
That's interesting, and I wish we could delve into why that particular demographic, but I do want you to answer this one last question. What is the county actively doing to fight against this problem? Because as you mentioned, it's happening across the nation, but what is Chautauqua County doing?
We have many very active partners, and in fact, I think one thing I could just simply say is that we're doing more than ever. There are literally thousands, for example, of kits of Narcan that are getting distributed and being used frequently. Our EMS reports that in many instances, when they show up at an opioid overdose, the individuals actually already had Narcan administered by a bystander. We have treatment options more than ever available, and of all sorts, to really meet people, as it were, where they are. We have more resources for family members of those with an addiction. And the way in which it would be the simplest for people to learn about those resources and learn more about them is to go to our county's resource website, combataddictionchq.com.
Thank you for that information. It's really important to get it out there. Again, thank you for sounding the alarm, and hopefully when we speak with you again, the numbers can be a little bit different.
I hope for better news.
All right, Steve Kilburn, Director with the Chautauqua County Department of Mental Hygiene. We want to thank you for coming on Channel 2 News at 5:30.